Welcome to The Spotlight, the podcast where veterans and military spouses connect and share how their military experience has transformed their lives and their businesses. Here's your host, Bob Louthen.
Hey, this is your host, Bob Louthen, founder of the Veteran Crowd Network, the network that brings veterans and veteran-led businesses together with each other and the resources they need to prosper. And you are tuning into The Spotlight. And now a word about a Veteran Crowd Spotlight partner, Fund the First. Fund the First is the nation's leading crowdfunding platform for first responders, military, and medical professionals. Thanks to a partnership with ID.me, Fund the First is able to combat fraud and scams to ensure donors that money is going to a verified and trusted source. Visit fundthefirst.com for more details. Fund the First, crowdfunding for our nation's heroes. Hey, welcome everybody. This is Bob Louthen, the host of The Spotlight on the Veteran Crowd Network. Really appreciate you guys joining us today. Pleased to have as my guest from and living now in North Carolina, April Mitchell. She is the founder and owner of 4A's Creations. She has a background in elementary education. However, she has found her niche as an inventor and entrepreneur. April, welcome to The Spotlight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to chatting today.
So you're a military spouse. Your husband is a combat engineer in the Marine Corps. Let's hear it for the combat engineers. I was one years ago. Tell us a little bit about your experience, where you're living now, and just kind of give us the lay of the land.
Yeah, so we are in North Carolina right now. Just last summer, we moved cross country from Camp Pendleton, California, all the way here. We've got 4 kiddos, and we've lived in Hawaii, Wisconsin, Arizona. We're here. Where else have we lived? You kind of start losing track, but we've had our share of moves. And it's been an adventure. We really try to make an adventure every place we go. So, trying to explore the area, do all the outside things we can, and really make it fun for the kids and ourselves. And just because you never know if you're going to go back to that place or not. So
how long have you been affiliated with the Marine Corps?
So my husband and I have almost been married for 17 years, but I met him when I was 18. So I've now known him longer than I've not known him, which he was in the reserves in college when we met. So our first date was a Marine Corps ball. So I've been kind of having taste of the Marine Corps since I've been 18.
November 11th, or 10th. Is that when they that's your first date? Is that the anniversary date?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I got that right. So, and you got 4 kids. You call your company 4A's Creations. You've been sort of working your way through the alphabet naming kids, right?
Yeah. Well, just with A's.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your experience as a spouse. And, you haven't been in the inventing game for 17 years, right? So, what were you doing before, and what sort of tell us the military spouse kind of lifestyle story, which we've heard repeatedly on this program, but I want to sort of hear your perspective on it. And then we'll jump into being an inventor.
Sure. So, as you mentioned before, my background's in education. So before we had kids, I taught other kids. And then once we started having kids, we had 4. It was just boom right away. So we had 4 kids under the age of 5. So yeah, it was some crazy times, but fun. So I stayed home. So I became a stay-at-home mom, which I enjoyed and loved, and it was hard. Of course, we all know that was also difficult. And at the time, my husband had done a few deployments in those years of where the kids were little. Our daughter was actually born when he was deployed. And so just a lot going on. So we chose to have me stay home with them. And as a mom and raising 4 kids on my own part-time, depending on
You
whether
should get a medal for
there
having
or
4
not.
kids under 5. That's off the chart.
Yeah, that was definitely something. So I really immerse my education background into the kids and learning. And of course you've got to, the kids are supposed to know their shapes and their colors and all these things. And I just really felt there was some lacking of fun in the education, I guess, tools and resources. So I would come up with just different things to help them while learning and whatnot. And uh, I didn't really think anything of it. That just was natural to me from just my background from my parents, just being creative. And then as an educator, you would come up with resources and new games and things like that. So that was just natural. And then we slowly started having problems, if you will, with moves and just different things. And it just, my wheels started spinning and I'm like, we need to have something to solve this problem. And so kind of eased into the inventing world. But it was not until the kids were a little bit older that I started to really dive into it, because being a full-time mom is a full-time job.
Right.
So
How old are the kids? How old's the oldest now?
the oldest is 15. He'll be
Okay.
16 this summer. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So, when did you sort of, well, I think your story is interesting, because you were recognizing problems and living in military housing.
Mhm.
You were moving and you discovered that all the military housing had some similar problems, right? And this leads to your first patented product.
Well, this one was actually
Oh,
well, this one was the towel belt was first, and that is patented. And that was me being a mom doing too much laundry, which is
okay.
a problem for everybody. I think anyone. But the boys were, the older two were potty training at the time, and the hand towels were just always falling on the floor. And when you have people learning to aim, you do
Okay.
not want to use a towel that's been on the floor to dry your hands. So we were just going through so many hand towels. And I thought, okay, there's just got to be something to keep these towels up so I don't have to do a whole load of towels every day. It was just ridiculous. We have enough to do. We're busy, a lot going on. And so I searched for something to fix that problem. And some people would put a rubber band on it, the towel, to keep it up, and a clothespin. And I thought, my kids, they're going to pinch their fingers or get hurt with those. It's just going to be something. So I did a little research, looked into things, bought a sewing machine, learned to try different fabrics and materials, and learned what would work best. And I came up with the product, the towel belt, which just wraps around a towel hanging there on the bar and secures it. So you just dry your hands and walk away, and you can use the same towel for the whole day and limit your laundry. So that was a
When the
win.
boys get older, they'll use the same towel for a month and you'll have to go tear it
Go
away from
take
them to
it.
wash it. Hey,
Right.
what about the adjustable rack system? When did that one pop into your mind?
Yeah, so that one was a few moves ago. So 3 moves ago, we were living in Kansas, actually at an Army school, Leavenworth. So your
Okay.
Army, I'm sure you've been there. So that house there just did not have any closet space. We didn't have a hot closet, and the closets in the house were small. And then there was one towel bar in each of the bathrooms. So you can't really have 4 towels on one towel bar and they actually dry. So then what we do, we go and buy these hooks for over the door so all the kids could put their hooks, their jackets and towels on the hooks. And then they couldn't reach them. Only 1 out of 4 kids could reach what was up on that hook. And so I thought, okay, there's got to be hooks that do go low enough for the kids to reach. There's got to be hooks that, adjust lower for people height challenged or handicap, something. I'll buy those. But I couldn't find anything. So I decided to make one. So
Did you make one from hand the first time you made it?
oh no. So first I drew this beautiful picture of
Right.
what it
Okay.
should look like,
All right.
which is not a beautiful picture. It's I joke about it. Then my husband drew a better one with some
Got the engineer going
tools.
on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, he did. And I was in, at the time I was in Inventors. I was in an Inventors group, which is super important. If you've got an idea and you're just starting out, no matter how long you've been in this journey, it's great to get
What is an
involved.
inventors group? How does that work? Is it
So they meet monthly, and they have people coming in and talking about different parts of the process, and maybe prototyping and maybe patenting, and just all parts of the
is
process.
this a
And
local
then,
group? I mean, we do everything by Zoom now, but
right,
it was
right.
something local.
Yeah, there's usually local groups. Now they're meeting over Zoom. That one was KC. That was Kansas. That was a great group. There's also Inventor Groups of America, which anyone can find, and they do monthly webinars as well. And I've done a webinar for them before. They're fantastic group, bringing in different people. So just groups that are there to give you resources to learn about this process, because unfortunately the first thing people want to do is just go out and buy a patent, get a patent and spend thousands and thousands of dollars with a lawyer, which I did that for my first product, the Telebelt, and it wasn't necessary to do. So
Right.
you're learning these resources and these tools when you're in groups like that kind of put a kibosh on what everyone thinks you should do. Whenever someone has an idea, they're like, oh, you got to go get a patent, and that's just not necessarily the case. So it's just
I've got
really
some friends and some business colleagues that have patents to their name, and
Mhm.
one of them is a guy named Alex Weinstein. Actually, Alex flew helicopters in the Air Force, but he could look at a problem and just kind of envision a solution. And is
Mhm.
that something? Is there something special about April that
Well,
that
I
maybe you're
think
one of those people?
I think it's amazing because I really feel like we're all creative in our own way, and we're all blessed in a different way with creativity. And I didn't when I came up with my first product, I thought it was just a one-time thing. And then
Hmm.
once you do it again, it becomes, I feel like, easier. And all of a sudden these ideas just start popping in your head, and you have a notebook of them, and you almost want to try to shut it off once in a while to like have a
We got a
break.
bunch of them that aren't that good. I mean, it's
But
a
they're
lot of crumpled up stuff in the trash can too, right?
right, right. And you can't work on everything, and you have to really learn to evaluate things and do product research and things like that. And so a big part of the process. And so with the right height hook, I had to research to find out, okay, what was already available and how would my product differ. And then from the Inventor group, I hired someone to do a prototype for me. So they 3D printed a prototype for me, which worked well enough to show my product in a sizzle video. We call it a sizzle video. And that way I could get interest from companies to see if they would want to license it, manufacture it, and get it into retail for me for a percent for royalties of it, instead of creating a whole business on
Hmm.
its own. Because I knew me as a mom of four, I did not have time to run
Right.
a full-fledged business, manufacturing, you know, being online, fulfilling orders, and all of those things. So licensing is a nice option if you don't want to create a business for just one product, and then you can work on several different ones, and as they come, and have royalty checks coming in for different products.
How did you know people would want this? I mean, you wanted it, right?
Right.
But what kind of
Right.
research did you do to sort of validate the market?
Well, it's one of those things where reading reviews can be really helpful. A lot of times people, like, for example, for this hook, if you look, some hooks are a little bit lower than the ones that just go a couple inches, and people think, oh, okay, I'm going to be able to reach this, and then they still can't reach it. So I think reading reviews and really assessing and asking people, sometimes our family and friends are going to tell us what we want to hear, and sometimes they're going to be brutally honest. So find the people around you that will be brutally honest, and to really decide. And then the best way to do is just get some marketing material out there, a sell sheet or a video, and send it to companies that are currently making products similar to yours, or that are in that industry that you would honestly think of as a competitor if you were going to manufacture them yourself, to
Right.
see if there's interest. And it's really nice because for a couple $100 you can do all that. You can see if there's interest from companies, to see if it's worth your while pursuing. for the hook, initially there was a good dozen companies interested just by me emailing them to say, hey, take a look at this. And then of course it always narrows down, because in these reviews, it's got to go to the next person and then the next person. And it's got to go up this chain of ladder. Most often, once in a while, I'll be lucky and be able to chat with the owner or the CEO of a company when I'm pitching, but it's not often. Usually it's someone else that's just, getting the first look at it, and then they have to pitch it, a couple of times.
All right. So you ultimately found somebody to help you distribute the product. You're licensing it. Where is the product available to the general public? And then let's talk about the exchange. What's happened with that?
Yes, so it's available online on Amazon, Walmart, Bed Bath and Beyond, Wayfair. It's been in some home goods stores, in some smaller chain stores in Canada. And then, like you mentioned, it's currently at the MCX, and we're working on getting it on other bases as well.
Okay. And so all right, so let's take a step back. Let's as a military spouse and running a business, what are some of the resources you found in your community that have helped you, be a business person, your business being licensing, innovative products?
Well, honestly, for the military, there really was not resources for this. I personally have not come. I've, now that I'm in this, am slowly coming, you know, it's becoming more known. Okay, here's a veteran that has a product. Here's a military spouse that has a product, but it's not something that's very common in general in the civilian world. So I think it's even less common in the military world. So there really wasn't resources for licensing per se. Now, when I had the towel belt and I was thinking about, having a full business, manufacturing and whatnot, I did go to SCORE, which is a great resource that helps small businesses and helps you put a plan together and things like that. So I did have a lot of help with that, but I did not decide to go that route. I did not want to manufacture my own product. And
so being in the licensing side, you didn't have to raise a lot of capital either to go produce inventory and so.
No, because the company, they invest in it. So that's what's great is they put up all the money. They do the prototyping further, because the prototype I had that they did, my product before it was ready for retail had two other renditions, if you will. They had one that they were ready to go on, and then they had one to show the public at the Houseware show in Chicago when it was ready to go. And then after meeting with buyers, then realized, okay, we're going to change the hook a little bit. And so it went through some steps before it is what it is now. But now I know there are resources out there that I know of now that I've spoken with. For example, the Rosie Network, I'd like to give them a plug. They're fantastic. And so they're helping entrepreneurs. And I did a class with other entrepreneurs and teaching some different things. So they're doing great. I didn't know about them at the time. And there's other resources for people who have a service or a product that they're manufacturing and selling. But what I'm doing is a little different, because I'm selling my products, I'm renting them to other companies. So it's a little different. It's, to put me in a magazine offering me as a service, which I'm happy to consult, but there's not many people looking for someone to invent a new product for them. It's usually the other way around, where the companies are there and their doors are open, but I need to go to them.
Has the COVID environment, the shutdown, so to speak, been helpful or hurtful in the progress of your business? I'm curious.
Well, to me, because of Zoom and I was pitching over Zoom anyway, it has not hurt. I have to say, we're in the inventing world, we're used to going to trade shows, because I can walk the trade show floor and meet people that I didn't know online or on LinkedIn and have not connected with at a previous trade show. So that's been a bummer. And I'm a
Yeah.
people person. I love to meet new people and shake hands and just pop into a booth and get to know them and their product line to see what do I have that might fit with what they're doing now. And so I'm not able to do that. There's still also been online shows. So I'm still pitching. I mean, back in November, I pitched to 40 companies in 1 week, all online. And that actually was convenient because I could have my table set up here with all my products. And this is for the toy and game industry that I'm pitching in as well. And I could just, go from product to product instead of wheeling a suitcase around, showing some, sell sheets and then
Lugging it on
they're
airplanes
interested.
either, right?
Right.
So
So
talk about the toys and games industry and where you're going with some of your efforts at this point. A
yeah.
good segue.
So the toy and game industry is a lot of fun because of 4 kids. There's toys in our house. We're playing games. We usually have family game nights and we're very outdoorsy as well. So we're doing different outdoor sports and things like that. So with 4 kids, they're always doing something, making things up, playing different things. And I'm really soaking that in, seeing what they're doing. And then we create and we invent together. So we have one product that has been licensed that's in the outdoor category, but it's not for retail yet. It should be this year. The kids were outside playing and I walked out the door and I'm like, what in the world are you guys doing? And there's balls going everywhere and all these things are happening. And so then I just, watch them. I observe them, ask them questions. They're having a great time. And so then we take what they were doing and we change it a little bit so it wasn't as chaotic, and make it so other people can play anywhere. And so we do things like that, and I take what they're interested in and we try to mold it a little bit, change it a little bit so that it could be something that could maybe be mass produced. We took an outside game that they were playing and made a board game of it so everyone could play. So I've now licensed 2 products in the game and toy industry. So one's outside and then one is a collectible plush toy. And then I'm very close on a couple others and pitching over a dozen games and toys right now. One, my son completely invented himself, and then I helped him through the process. A lot of them we've done together, some I've done, but then they help. So they've prototyped. One of the boys is an amazing artist. So I'll draw something really horrible and he'll make it better. And then I can get it to another artist or someone helping with a prototype and things like that. And then they test play and they're in the videos and all of that. So it's
What
really
kind of games are these, April? Because I had 3 brothers, and the games we played with kids, you couldn't afford the insurance coverage to be the provider. I mean,
Sure.
you needed protective gear to
Yeah.
participate, I would think. I mean, what kinds of games are we talking? Can you give us an example of one of the games?
Well, the outdoors one is an active outside game that involves a ball and some kind of goal. So I can tell you
Right.
that. And then the plush that just really came off of something from the kids love animals, and so it'll be really fun to maybe show that another time when that's ready. But and then another instance where the kids were using an item that is not a toy as a toy and having a fun time with it. So we changed it and just worked it a little bit and thought, okay, if we add lights to this, now we can play it in the dark and do all these things. So, and then we also have, family games, party games. I also have preschooler games that I pitch to because of the education background. So I can't help but not come up with some educational things as well. So it's definitely a full team effort for sure. I mean, my husband's had to, he's helped all, nailing things, gluing things. You never know what's going to be happening over
You're
here.
not old enough. You're not old enough to remember, but some of the games that were popular in my time. We had these yard darts, which were basically missiles that certain individuals got impaled upon, I think.
Oh,
And then we had these other things called clackers, which was basically a ceramic ball on the end of it, and you would swing them back and forth, and they would smash against each other. I mean, we might as well have had bags of rusty nails and broken glass to play with when we were kids. I mean, is safety a big issue in all of this, in this consideration? I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't to our
definitely.
parents, I can assure you.
It is. Well, the thing is kids are going to run around and balls are going to fly no matter what. That's the way I
Right.
think of it. But, when pitching to a toy company, obviously, you know what materials things can be made of. So it won't break something if they play it in the house or this or that. So it's things to consider. And then doing your market research of, what are parents willing to let go, like be okay with, right?
Right.
But the
Right.
companies aren't going to, if they don't feel it's safe, they're not going to be okay with it. And I've had that before where companies like, oh, we wanted to do something with a similar theme before, but our legal department wasn't okay with it. Like you'll get that once in a while. So it just takes the right company to see past things and make it work. So it's really neat though, because we get to really, I get to build these relationships with all these companies, and we'll see what the kids do with it someday as well, because they're seeing something completely that they would have never seen, learning about contracts and patents. I mean, my son filed a patent. You don't have to be a certain age to to file a patent, and so things like that, and
How
just
many
rapid.
patents does your family have issued at this point?
I have two issued. I've
Uh-huh.
filed probably a couple dozen. Those are PPAs. Those are the provisional patent applications.
Right.
If a company's not interested in a product, I just let it go. I don't go for the full utility because that's too expensive to do with every
Right.
idea. But if it's going to hit the market, then I
It's going to be
definitely,
viable in the marketplace. That's when you pull the trigger on that. Hey,
yeah.
have there been some individuals in your life that have just sort of been inspirational for you? I mean, is there somebody you can point to that you kind of say, that person really kind of,
Yeah,
made an impact?
definitely. So I have a few. Now, when I was growing up, my dad was always creating things. He would make tools for.
He had the inventor gene too.
He
Okay.
did, and his father had a few inventions and had patents as well. Um, and they never made it to the market. Nothing ever happened with them. But yeah, my dad created tools for his trade, which is drywall, and then he made some things for fishing, and then just fun things, creative things. But we had fun with it. He never took any of those ideas outside the house or his own job. But so I had that, and that was normal. Like problem solving, creating, that was normal for me. So I was very blessed to be a part of that and have that in my
Mhm.
life. Once I started getting into the inventing world, I found the book One Simple Idea by Stephen Key. That changed everything to me, or for me. In InventRight TV, they do a lot of videos on inventing, everything having to do with inventing.
What's the theme of the one simple
One
idea?
simple idea, it takes you through the steps, through the process of idea to pitching to companies.
Uh-huh.
So the market research, evaluating your idea, prototyping, the marketing materials, filing a PPA, all of those things, getting in front of companies. And what's really unique now is the author, Stephen Key. He wrote two other books, and I'm in two of those other books, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one is becoming a professional inventor, and one is using LinkedIn to license your ideas. And he also is a co-founder of InventRight that coaches new inventors. And so I actually work for the company coaching new inventors as well part-time. So it's been really neat.
LinkedIn is a tool to license.
It
I
is
didn't know
because
that.
companies are on LinkedIn. And so you can look and find out who's, into marketing, who's
Oh,
in
okay, to
sales,
find
who's in
it's the
marketing.
networking tool. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
let me ask another question that's popped into my mind. Thomas Edison said it was like 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, right? Is
Mhm.
that true?
I do think so. I do. I mean, I learned a lot. I can't even tell you the amount of things I learned. I mean, I was one of those people who every time I touched the computer, I would break it. My husband would come home and I'd be like, you got to fix the computer again. Like I was just horrible. To then being able to make sizzle videos, pitch videos, and to be comfortable reaching out to someone and asking to pitch my product, to, not only then pitching over Zoom, but to then give webinars on how to pitch over Zoom. So that I did not know that 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn so much, and then to get to where I am today. And I still have so much more to learn, so much more to go, right? It's a constant learning. So you do have to put in the work, but it's doable by anyone. I truly believe, if you are willing to learn.
Was it 3 times harder than you thought, or 10 times harder than you thought to get it done?
Over 10 times. I mean, people are like, how do you do it? And a lot of people starting off, with an idea, you want to quit the first time.
It's perseverance, right?
Yes, you really have to persevere, and you have to be consistent. And a lot of people are not consistent. You really have to be consistent. You've got to show up every day. You got to do the hard stuff. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to be in those situations to learn and to get through them. Because if I would have stopped the first time I was uncomfortable, the first time a lady made me cry on the phone, like I would not be here, and I'd have to say, of all the companies I've pitched to, there was one lady, and I can still remember her name. And of course, you never repeat that. You don't badmouth anyone, but you know what? It's part of the course, but we all are going to have that one kind of battle.
That's where you learn the most, probably.
Yeah, of things.
Something tells me you like doing the pitch. How do people get in touch with you, April? How do people reach out and learn more?
Yes, so I'm on LinkedIn. That's kind of where my presence is on LinkedIn. My email, I can have you guys post that as well. It's right. Some people get confused because it's the digit 4 and not the word 4, but it's April at 4ascreations.com. But I do love to do consulting work. We've had a building block company mail us their toys, and we played with them, and tried to see what we could create with them and come up with
the Mitchell family and give them a test drive, right?
Yeah. Nothing's come up, from that exactly yet, but you never know what happens. So we love to take on challenges and whatnot. So currently I invent in the housewares industry, the toy and game industry, in the novelty industry as well. But the sky's the limit. If someone says, hey, we want a product in lawn and garden or something, what do you got, or that's in this area? Well, we'll brainstorm and we sit down, we'll chat. We drive to sports, and I'll be like, okay, someone needs this, what do you think, what can we do? And we just all brainstorm, and you get 6 people together thinking about it. It's different than a one person inventing firm, and not to throw grown men under the bus, but if you've got 4 grown men coming up with games and toys, and you've got a family coming up with games and toys that are playing them and wanting them right now, to me, it kind of makes sense.
Come up with a better idea. Yeah, April, I say this on every podcast, 30 minutes goes by like in the blink of an eye. You've been a fantastic guest. We're going to put links to your LinkedIn and information, on the show notes for our opportunity. Sure. Thank you so much for stepping into the spotlight and sharing your story. I think there's probably a lot more to tell. We'll have to get you back on and do a follow-up sometime. But thank you for being on the program.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And after this has posted, anyone could go to Military Spouse Magazine, their website. They will have a link to a video where I'm literally taking people through idea to retail. So if someone's interested in just learning a little bit about that, I would say check out that video and buy one simple idea, and you're always welcome to reach out as well. But we all got to start somewhere, and it's doable. We can do it. And this is a job that anyone can do anywhere, which is fantastic.
Thank you. So our guest has been April Mitchell. She's the founder and owner of 4A's Creations, a military spouse living in North Carolina with her Marine husband. Thanks so much to you. I'll send a Semper Fi out to your husband and a Bravo Zulu to you. And you've been listening to the Spotlight on the Veteran Crowd Network. We're bringing military spouses this week that make a difference in our community. Again, Bravo Zulu to you, and that's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to Spotlight by Veteran Crowd. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and uploads, please visit our website at veterancrowdnetwork.com. We'll see you next time.